This episode is brought to you by Battleborn Batteries, the best name in the RV and marine industry. These lithium batteries are designed and assembled in the USA, backed by a 10-year warranty. The best solution for your battery anxiety, so go check them out at battlebornbatteries.com.
Whether your adventure is on the road, on the water, or off the grid, Battleborn Batteries keep you out there longer.
Hi, everyone. This is Kenny, and I am so excited to announce that SnapPad has become a sponsor for the show. It means so much to us to have their support. I purchased SnapPads for our RV over 2 years ago, and I can honestly say if something happened to them today, I would replace them by tomorrow. They have saved my back and setup time by not needing to crawl underneath our Class A to set up blocks under our jack stands. They truly make setting up our RV a snap.
For me, they reduce vibration in the fifth wheel, took 15 minutes to install, and never come off. SnapPads also add a little something extra to the appearance of the jacks. Go check them out at rvsnappad.com.
You are listening to Beyond the Wheel, a podcast about the people and ideas that drive the RV community forward.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Kenny and I are still in Virginia waiting out this COVID-19 nonsense. I think this is probably the longest, or at least it seems like the longest, either one of us have ever been somewhere without moving. But again, it may just feel that way because we can't go out and do anything, or we're just basically stuck in our RVs. But it looks like things are starting to open back up. We're recording this on June 2nd. Things are slowly coming back to normal, I think. What do you think, Kenny?
Yeah, I agree on everything you just said. It is, I'm pretty sure it's the longest that we've ever sat, but it feels even longer. This has been an incredibly long 2 months. And you watch news every day, and things are opening back up. But to me, things don't look much better. So I'm always very nervous about that. I understand that we have to open up, though. And some of the things that are reopening is the RV manufacturers. I think you had pointed out to me. So I took a look, and it looks to me as if all the RV manufacturers are back open, back in business, doing production, but they are being careful about it. They are practicing social distancing as much as they can in the factories. One of the things that they're doing is there's no break rooms, so people can't congregate in the break room altogether, and I thought that was smart. And then some of these factories are really large, like the Winnebago factories, and it's enormous. It's like the size of a town. So they have the space to push people apart from each other. I saw Thor is back open and Newmar, and they're all practicing, social distancing while working and being safe about it.
Yeah, I guess if the weather's good, people can go outside on the break times and the lunch times to enjoy a little bit of outside instead of filling up a break room anyway. So it may be better for them to actually get outside and see some sun.
Yeah, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. And you're right. Yeah, the weather's good enough now, or nice enough now, that they can be outside on their breaks. Newmar had a little, little questionnaire about their COVID practices and, why they shut down, and they wanted to be safe for their employees and for themselves and things like that. And they had an interesting comment there that I didn't even think about. They said, what if I had placed an order for a Class A motorhome, and now because of the shutdown, what will happen to my order? And they said, unfortunately, your order will get pushed back, but we hope that everybody understands the reasons why. So I didn't even really think of that as an issue of shutting down the plant. I always think of these RVs are being built and they go right to the dealer. I never think of somebody placing an order and now their order has been pushed back, and maybe something that you've been really looking forward to having is now not coming when you expected it. So I'm sure it was a very tough decision for them to actually close down.
Yeah, I didn't think about that either, but yeah, that could affect a lot of people that had special orders for any type of RV, really, not just a motor coach, but I mean, even people want special things in their fifth wheel or travel trailer, and all that probably slowed way down. But I did notice that we drive by Camping World on our way going around town, and the lot's still pretty full. So I think there's still plenty of RVs out there. And again, maybe that's because people weren't out shopping for RVs either during this time. So their existing inventory may have just, sat there. But now I think it's going to start picking up again.
Yeah, I think it's going to start picking up big time. Something that goes right into this conversation, actually, is the fact that Toby O'Rourke, the CEO of KOA, was talking about camping and what the future of camping looks like. And I have a quote here that she said that people are more interested in camping now than ever before. She says, so a quote from her is that people are valuing the outdoors more than ever right now. 30% of those people surveyed said that camping is going to be their first trip when they're able to get back out there. 1/3 of people who never thought about camping before are now thinking about camping and RVing.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. And Sabrina and I have always enjoyed RVing for some of this kind of reason. There is a certain level of, I don't want to say safety, but for us, we enjoy being in our own germs in a sense. Like instead of a hotel or the plane, we're very comfortable having all of our own stuff, our own bathroom that we use, our own bed that we sleep in. And I think that's a very popular choice for a lot of people when RVing.
Yeah, I love having my own toilet.
Yeah, exactly. There is something about it. It's comforting to have your own things, knowing that other people aren't. You're not sharing anything. It is very comforting.
Yeah, and it's nice to have a kitchen, and so you don't have to worry about somebody else preparing your food. And yeah, I think it's a great thing. I also read something recently that said they expect RV and boat sales to go up after this, because boating's another thing, like, pontoon boats and stuff is another way for a family to get outside and do something cool and still social distance away from others.
Yeah, and she also had another good point where she talked about when you camp an RV, it doesn't have to be a trip across the country type of thing. There's campgrounds all over the place, especially KOAs. There's KOA everywhere, but it can be a short distance trip, which cuts down on the cost. And after everybody is getting right back to work now, maybe the funding isn't there, but a camping trip is, compared to other trips, reasonably priced.
Yeah. And most people, I think this is also something that's put out by KOA. They do that research every year. We had the opportunity to talk to Toby at the RVX, was it last year or the year before? I don't even remember now, but
I think it was last year.
One of our episodes is with Toby O'Rourke, and she talked about the research that they do, and most people camp within 150 miles of their home. So like you said, it doesn't have to be going from the East Coast to the West Coast. You can just find a campground or a boondocking spot that's close to your home.
Yeah, I do remember her saying that. And I think she also said that most people visit the same campgrounds year after year, that they don't really do a whole lot of exploring. They find a spot that they like, and that becomes their family getaway type of thing. I was actually surprised by that. I was surprised by both those things, that one, they don't travel a great distance, and the other thing is that they frequently visit the same campground year after year.
Well, I think both of us have gone coast to coast in the last year, so it would be hard to imagine just staying within 150 miles when you're used to that type of travel. But I could see it for families that only get weekends, maybe just finding a fun spot and sticking with it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get it. Sabrina and I do Disney World every single year. We might not this year because of everything going on, which definitely hurts. But yeah. But I mean, Sabrina and I don't miss a trip to Disney World every year. So I definitely get it. And before that, when we lived in Virginia, we went to Myrtle Beach one weekend every year. So I definitely get it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hope to see more people getting RVs and doing some traveling like that. I mean, it really is a good way to travel and maintain some sort of social distancing if you need to.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I love it. I think it is I believe it's the best way to travel. I've done all kinds of traveling and by RV, my own spot, my own bathroom. I stop when I want. I make food whenever I want. Like everywhere I go, I have everything I need with me. We were just talking the other day about it's nice to go into any type of climate and have your winter clothes, your summer clothes, your everything that you need. You have
Yeah,
with you
right
when
there.
you're prepared for everything. Anything that gets thrown at you. I've enjoyed it from the very beginning. I was hooked. Both Sabrina and I were kind of hooked on it right away. It didn't there wasn't like a what's the word I'm looking for, where you kind of have to ease into something or you adjust to. There was really a very small adjustment period, I think. There's a
Yeah.
lot to RVing, but I think it was a very small adjustment period, and we were like, "Hey, this is awesome!" Like right away.
Yeah, I think we did the same thing. We just jumped right into it and it very quickly became comfortable. But speaking of being able to travel and RV production being back up, some exciting news from Ford on their new gas chassis for RVs. And well, RVs are one of the things that it's going to go on, that it's going to be used for, but I also think some other Ford vehicles will have it as well.
Yeah, this is something I've been looking forward to for a very long time. I can't wait to test drive the new Class A motorhomes. I saw Winnebago now has it on their website as being available right now. It's going from the 6.8 V10 up to the 7.3 V8. So you're losing cylinders, but you're gaining the liters, and it's the new engine's going to have more horsepower and more torque. It's going to be matched up with the same 6-speed that's been in it for the last 3 years, I guess. And I can't wait to test drive the thing. I'm hoping along with that, we get a new instrument panel. That's something that sounds kind of lame, I guess. How interesting could an instrument panel be? But the instrument panels that they put in these Class A motorhomes have not been very exciting compared to what they've been putting in the automotive industry. And I'm hoping with this new chassis, we get maybe a more modern instrument panel, give us a little bit of digital, give us a little computer that shows us maybe oil life expectancy and just something.
Yeah, the old F-53 chassis, that chassis hadn't been changed in
20
about
years.
20 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
so boy, that's a long time in automotive terms for something to stay the same.
Yeah, and as far as the automotive industry, for Ford, they're putting that engine in their Super Duty, and the Super Duty trucks are being matched up with that engine with a 10-speed. And I think maybe we'll see that 10-speed in the Class A's too. I personally can't think of a reason why that wouldn't happen. They're saying that the transmission, the 10-speed, even though it's more speeds, is almost identical in size. So it's a direct swap as far as size-wise goes. So it fits in the same location. I don't know. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe it's a weight thing. I don't know. But I would imagine that we'll see that at 10-speed eventually. But as of right now, it's the new engine with the original transmission to 6-speed. So I'm looking forward to test driving it. I want to see if I notice the power difference.
Yeah, and then also it looks like they upgraded on the new chassis. They upgraded the shocks. It has anti-roll sway bars,
a bigger sway bar, yeah,
and bounce stops. So
the
ride has got to be night and day compared to the old chassis.
I would imagine. Yeah, I don't know when I'll be able to test drive one, but I'm pretty strict with the social distancing, so I don't know when it's going to happen for me. But I am really looking forward to it. I've been looking forward to it for a long time.
Now, I wonder if the fuel tank size has changed, or if they changed the wheelbase at all on that.
I believe both those things are still the same. I will double check and I'll put it in the show notes. But I believe it's still the 80-gallon, and I believe the wheelbase are the same dimensions as well. But I'll double check and I'll put it in the show notes to be sure.
Yeah, I read one article on it that said with the new suspension pieces that highway lane changing, you don't feel any lean or any sway when you're making those changes. So that's pretty awesome.
That'll be a big difference. I know when Sabrina follows behind us, every once in a while, I can't think of a scenario when this happens, but there has been times that I've been driving our Class A Vista, and she's been behind us in the car, and she says, man, it's so scary watching you make right turns and left turns because it sways so much. I always think it's on tip over. Honestly, I don't feel it that much while driving. I think I did when we first started. I guess I've gotten so used to it now. I guess I've become accustomed to the sway, but it definitely does. Yeah, these Class A's have a lot of movement. I mean, they're big vehicles, and in the wind, they're like billboards and like a sailboat kind of thing. So yeah, all those improvements are going to make such a difference.
It'll be interesting for people like you that have had that chassis for several years now and are used to driving it, how much of a difference driving that new chassis will be.
And the other big difference for me, I guess, will be our RV is old enough that it still has the 5-speed transmission in it. They switched over to a 6-speed in 2016, halfway through the year. For us, when I test drive it, it'll be a different transmission and a different engine and all these additional chassis pieces too.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this before, not in a podcast, but just when we were chatting about it. But it's going up to 468 foot-pounds of torque. And I think that didn't increase a whole lot from the current version. But with the engine change, it might be a big difference.
Yeah, that's really what I'm most curious about when I do the test drive. Because on paper, you're right. The numbers, it's more horsepower, more torque, but not by a whole lot. It's not like a big jump. So I'm curious to see if I can feel that difference, especially when again, because of the transmission's going to change that field a little bit too, the gearing. But yeah, I want to know, I do want to see, do I feel an increase in pickup and slowing down and cornering? I'm really interested in getting all the aspects of the new chassis and just how that relates to physical on the road driving, especially like you said. I've been driving ours for so long. I expect it to be a night and day difference, and I hope I'm not disappointed.
So you said you've seen it advertised on some Winnebagos?
Yes, on the Winnebago website right now, they do have it advertised in their specs with the new engine. I checked Newmar, Thor, and Jayco, and it's not listed on their website just yet. I would imagine what probably happens is these companies go through their inventory first. So they got to use up all their 6.8s first before they start putting a 7.3 in. I would guess that's what's happening. So maybe Winnebago has already gone through their stockpile and is now dipping into the new engine.
So on the 2020s or on the 2021s?
I guess the 2020s, because they don't on their websites, they don't really list them as the years. They just say what their RVs come with. So I would imagine it's still the 2020s, because I don't think they start the 2021s till September to November, somewhere around there. So I would imagine it's probably similar to how my motorhome right now is a 2016 with a 5-speed, but halfway through the year, they switched it over to that 6-speed. So if you had an early model 2016, you got the 5-speed. If you have a late model 2016, you got the 6-speed. And I would imagine this engine's going to be the same way. So when you go to the dealers, and just because it says 2020 on it, it could be an early model 2020, and it will have the 6.8. Maybe it won't have that 7.3. So you want to pay attention when you're going to the dealers that just because it's a certain year doesn't mean it has all that new tech into it, I guess.
Yeah.
Because they sometimes upgrade their vehicles halfway through the year. And I'm trying to remember, we actually interviewed somebody not too long ago. They had mentioned the same thing, that not all RVs are the same throughout the year. I don't know if it was
RV SnapPad, and he was talking about the leveling system.
That's what it was. Yep. Sometimes they change their leveling systems throughout the year. So yeah, just because you see something advertised and you say it's a 2020 or a 2016, whatever it is, always look at all the specs on it, because they do change specs throughout the year. It's a little pro tip for you. If I can be considered a pro.
And then besides the new chassis, Dometic has come out with a new refrigerator.
Another thing I'm really excited about, most RVs, when they have a refrigerator in them, if they're not the residential kind, then you have what's called like the RV refrigerator, and it works off the electric or the propane. And that refrigerator is called a heat absorption system, where it pulls the heat out of the out of all the components at a quick rate, which makes everything cold. That would be the basic way to explain it, I guess. But what Dometic is doing is they're making all the refrigerators now 12 volt, and it runs off of a compressor similar to how their coolers were that Sean and I saw at the RVX show that we were really impressed with those refrigerators
Yeah, they
because
were
of how
nice.
they were so quiet. They were light, and the cooler had like a freezer and a refrigeration section. So it's coming from that same company, and it was a very low amp draw for their coolers, and the same thing's going to apply for the refrigerators. So normally when you have an electric refrigerator like the residential ones, they draw a ton of power. This will not. This will run off electricity and only use between 2 to 3 amps, which is, for a refrigerator, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we were talking to them at the RVX, they had the big cooler style refrigerator that was like 1 point something amps was all that thing was drawing. Very impressive. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this refrigerator as well, and I think it's actually, because of the design, you get more storage space out of something that's of an equivalent size that is not this.
Yeah, so Dometic is saying that this refrigerator. So there's two cool things about this refrigerator being out right now. One is that it's a aftermarket refrigerator, so you can replace the fridge that you have with this. This isn't something that you have to wait to get when you buy a new RV. They're selling this directly to us, the consumer. So it's an aftermarket replacement fridge, and you're going to gain, even though it's taking up the same amount of space, you're going to gain 2 cubic feet in your refrigerator, which may not sound like a lot to most people, but in an RV, every cubic foot really matters.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, whenever you can increase a little bit of anything in your RV, especially and take up the same amount of space on the outside, it's actually a big deal.
You know what's funny is this email from Dometic came out right after I had a Norcold propane refrigerator in my Arctic Fox. And after the third time of having to have it worked on and parts replaced, it finally died for good. And I replaced it with a residential refrigerator. And then like 2 days later, Dometic makes this announcement that this 12 volt fridge is out. And man, I was kicking myself because this would have been perfect.
Yeah, because it's even good for boondockers.
Yeah.
If you're running off because of the low amp draw, right now when you boondock, it's nice to have the propane feature, but at a 2 amp draw, it's better. I believe it's a better option because now you're saving your propane, which means less times that you got to change out your tanks, or if you're in a Class A motorhome without an extended stay, it's less times that you got to break up camp and move. And because the power is drawing so little, I think a lot of times people forget when you're running your refrigerator off of propane, you're using 12 volt power also at the same time.
Yeah.
So the fact that this is running at 2 amps, you're not increasing your amperage by 2 amps. I believe a propane refrigerator still uses at least 1 amp when running off of propane. So you're only increasing by 1 amp an hour, which is it's nothing. It's going to be a very nice addition to the RV world. Now you'll be able to drive down the road, leave your refrigerator on without worrying about propane running in your RV while traveling down the road. It's going to be a little bit safer, and I like whenever we can make improvements, and I believe this refrigerator is an improvement over the old RV style refrigerators.
Yeah, and it's not the typical look for an RV refrigerator too. I mean, they designed it to look more like a home refrigerator. So that's another plus, because brown on brown on brown is not always the most fun thing to look at. And this is like a stainless steel look, and I really like it. I think it's going to be popular with RVers, and maybe it'll come standard in some RVs designed for boondocking and things like that.
That's what I'm hoping too. I have seen the compressor style refrigerators in the vans now. I'm not sure the make of them though. It may be Dometic, but I know like a lot of the vans are now coming with the 12 volt compressor style refrigerators. In fact, well, this leads us right into another segment. Actually, Sabrina is in a 2021 Winnebago Vita right now, and I'll explain why in a second. But that RV has a 12-volt compressor refrigerator in it. She really likes it. It doesn't do the frosting, and she doesn't have to take care of it. It's quiet. We had the power go out here not too long ago at the campground. She was able to turn the inverter on, and the refrigerator ran off of the inverter because it is so low. It doesn't take a lot of power. So she's been liking it's nice that we've had a little tester with it already for us. And that's why I could say just how big of an improvement it is over the older refrigerators.
Yeah, I didn't realize you had a 12 volt in that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and she likes it a lot. And again, not that Sean and I are fashion gurus. It just looks a whole lot better than the old style, like the brown on brown on brown. I don't know. We are not fashion gurus.
No, definitely not. I heard that from Julie. That's the only reason why I said it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Julie knows a lot more than we do. We should have Julie on the show more often, actually. But yeah, so the fridge over there has been working great. It's almost kind of cool that the power went out here at the campground for so long, because we were able to test out the features a little bit of that fridge and have it run off the inverter. It's nice that she has a 1,000 watt inverter over there, and she was still able to watch TV and have the fridge and not worry about it because it's using so little power. And she likes that ours is quiet too. You don't hear these RV fridges turn on and off. So the noise factor, that doesn't really, they're all quiet. I would imagine that the residential refrigerators in the RVs are still relatively quiet. Maybe you hear a fan run or something like that. So the noise issue isn't that big of a deal. The power consumption is, though. That's a big one. And now you might be wondering, well, why does Sabrina have a 2020 Vita? Why isn't she staying with me? And then again, it comes back to COVID and us being very strict. Sabrina works in the hospital. She's a frontline worker. She's a physician, right in the face of COVID, I guess you could say. I don't know how else to describe it. To be able to socially distance in an RV is very difficult because of the size of it. I mean, there's just no space to socially distance in any RV. We only have one bathroom and it's close quarters.
Yeah.
So we actually contacted Winnebago and asked if we could get a discount for all the work that we do with you guys. If anybody knows Sabrina and I write for Winnebago. I write articles and stuff like that for them. I've done shows for them where I do presentations, and I just said, can we qualify for maybe like a friends and family discount? And they actually wrote back and said, you know what, we can do you one better. We can provide you with an RV for free for a loan. I shouldn't say just free and we keep it forever type of thing, but we can give you an RV. And when we approached Winnebago, we said, we wanted to see if we could get a discount on the cheapest travel trailer they had, because we weren't traveling with it. We just needed to park it somewhere. Honestly, they went above and beyond. Not only, they could have easily have done that and just given us the base model, cheapest travel trailer they had, but they actually gave us a really super motorhome. It's the Mercedes. It's built on the Mercedes chassis. It's got solar. It's got this compression fridge in it. It has leveling jacks. Like they didn't even give us the bottom of that level. They gave us all the options are in this one. Sabrina has said to me a few times now that she thinks that we need to purchase it when we're done with it, and she'll just follow me around, but she doesn't want to drive. No. She hates driving. I mean, it's a cool idea to own two RVs and have separate spaces, especially for her when she does a lot of telemedicine. So it's been great for the telemedicine. She's over there. She's got her own bathroom. I don't need to be like whisper quiet all day long, while she's trying to work and stuff like that. Belle has trouble being quiet. So I don't even think Winnebago realizes just how much of a help it has been for us to have this RV. And we have it till about October. And then unfortunately, we have to give it back. But, man, it's been great to have.
Yeah. I mean, Sabrina's right in the thick of the COVID-19 stuff in the hospital, being a critical care doc. She is hands-on with those patients. So one thing I will say, we've had Winnebago on the show a few times, different people. And in my experience with other RV companies, not saying all of them, because I certainly haven't met with every RV company, but out of the ones that I'm aware of are the most customer focused and really care about their customers more than any other of the manufacturers that I've talked to. So I just think that they're really not only just for you guys, but they're really working hard on both their regular vehicle side and on their specialty vehicles to see where they can help with not only with the COVID stuff, but like the accessibility enhanced, all that stuff. They really are a customer focused company. And I think, what they did for you guys just shows that even more.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I'm biased. I really do love Winnebago, but and we always have. It wasn't like Winnebago approached us before we were Winnebago owners before we started working with Winnebago. So we liked Winnebago before we even knew anybody at the company. We just kind of got lucky that we were at the rally the year after we bought the Winnebago, and we were talking to people in Winnebago. And like you said, they're very customer focused. So when they talk to you, they want to know about you more, and they want to hear how are you using their RVs. And we were talking with them and said, oh well, we full time in it. Sabrina's a physician, and we travel across the country. And they were so interested in, I guess, our story. They said, oh well, we would love for you guys to maybe work with us a little bit. And then from there, it has grown over the years. But yeah, Sabrina and I have loved Winnebago, I guess, from the very beginning. But now we've always been like proud to be working with them. But now we're also very thankful because they helped us out in such a big way. So
Yeah.
it's been great.
Yeah, that's huge.
They're really super over there. From everybody that we've talked to people on the manufacturing lines, building the RVs, to marketing, to sales reps. I mean, we've talked to obviously we haven't talked to every single person in the Winnebago, but we've talked to a lot of different departments, and they're always top-notch people.
Another company that we really like in the RV space, and one of our sponsors, is RV SnapPad. And they just had a great article written about them that is in the RV Pro magazine. And we can place a link to it in our show notes. It really highlights the quick growth of the company. They said in the article that their sales have doubled year over year since they started in 2015. So every year their sales have doubled. They now have a Canadian distributor. So they're a Canadian family that runs the company, but they do their manufacturing in the US. And even when we talked to them, they said there was problems with importing stuff between the US and Canada. So they finally found a Canadian distributor that's going to be able to allow them to sell their product in Canada. They also said how they're always adding new pads for the different leveling systems. Again, they're another very customer focused company, a family business, a true family business. I think their whole family works in the company. It's great to see them doing as well as they are.
Yeah, they are great. The product is wonderful. And I think in that article, they talk about getting the snap pads pre-installed on an RV. So when you buy it, it's already on there, and it just makes so much sense. Again, a simple idea that just makes a lot of sense, and it works so well. Like after you install these snap pads, I'm not crawling on the floor anymore and breaking my back. I love the snap pads. It's another product.
We both had them before we were affiliated with them.
Yeah, again, that's true.
Yeah, we just really liked them and have been lucky to build a relationship with them. And again, they're just the nicest people.
Yeah, they're one of those products. If for some reason something would happen to it, I would replace tomorrow. Like it would be a no-brainer. I get so much enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference, not only in the leveling of the RV, but then the vibration inside and all that stuff. It's just, really good product and smart idea.
And again, you and I are not fashion people or know what looks cool, I guess, but Sabrina swears it makes the RV look better to have the pads on there than just the bare metal. She likes the look of them.
Yeah.
I could kind of care less about the look of them. I just like that they work well, but she likes the way they look.
You definitely notice when they're on somebody's RV though.
Yeah, I saw one today as I was leaving. We must have like 3 or 4 Solitudes here. Very popular fifth wheel, I guess.
Yeah.
And one of them was leaving today, and they had the snap pads on their Solitude.
And then one other thing I wanted to bring up with RV companies and great service to not only customers, but the community is I saw a tweet today from Marcus Lemonis to the Chicago mayor. For those of you that don't know, Marcus Lemonis is the owner of Camping World, or the CEO of Camping World, I should say. he's willing to invest $1 million into any neighborhood in Chicago that the community thinks needs it the most. And he said he would do the work himself and give what he has in his head and his heart. I think that's great that a big name in the RV industry is reaching out to help the communities that have been depressed in the Chicago area. So I think it's great that they're doing something. They are a Chicago area based company. So they're stepping up to help their community and hopefully encourage others to do the same. I just wanted to highlight that in the episode as well. And a lot of people talk bad about Camping World, but I like Camping World for, it's like the Walmart of RVing. You can get everything you need in one spot. And we've had work done through Camping World. We've used Good Sam Roadside Assistance, which is all part of the same sort of big company. And we've been very happy with it. So I'm glad to see that they're reaching out to their community as well.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing. And I think what you said is very true. Hopefully this encourages other companies to do the same thing. I think that's the best. I think a lot of times companies keep things quiet and say, well, we don't want the publicity for this. But I always think it's a good thing when they get the publicity, because maybe it does encourage another company to do the same thing. Yes, it's nice to do a good thing just to be good, but it's also encouraging, I think, to know about it and have others follow suit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess I should add that Julie and I do RV shows for Good Sam. So there is a slight conflict of interest, I guess, but we work with them because we like them, and the people there are really good. Just like you work with Winnebago and we work with SnapPad because we really like the company. That's why we do it. And so I don't really see it as a conflict because we actually believe in what they're doing. So
yeah, definitely. Absolutely. So so I just want to throw this out to everybody that's listening right now. I need help. Sean maybe doesn't, but I do. So
I do for sure.
Sean and I do these episodes every fourth episode. We do this, and Sean and I always call them a guest list episode, which I have a very difficult time saying. We need a new title for these episodes where we don't have a guest, where it's just Sean and I talking to one another, and we're just letting you guys know what's going on with us, and we're also letting you know what we're hearing in the RV industry. If you guys could write in the comments maybe what a good title for these episodes would be, something better than guest list episodes, which I stumble on every time I say, it would really help me out, and I would appreciate it.
Yeah, we could definitely use the help, and we'll if we get several people to comment, maybe we'll do a vote or something like that to see which title we'll use. But yeah, we definitely need help with that because neither one of us can think of it.
How about this, Sean? How about if we throw this out to the audience, you guys help us come up with a name. The name that we choose for these episodes where we don't have a guest, you'll win a Micro Air Easy Start, which we've both had on our RVs. I have it on this current RV. You had it on your Cyclone. We love it. If you don't know what an Easy Start is, we have an episode where we interviewed the engineer from Micro Air. It helps the AC with its startup process to use less amperage. Some of the nice benefits to that is one, that you can run it off of smaller inverters. Another nice advantage is that it makes the AC unit quieter when you start up. You don't have that loud bang. It's a nice, soft start, I guess you could say. What's some of the other advantages? Sorry, guys.
Well, one thing that they say they can't claim, but it probably extends the life of your air conditioner because it doesn't have that harsh startup. It'll, like Kenny said, smaller inverters. So if you're boondocking, you can run it off of your batteries and your inverter, which we do quite a bit actually in ours. The first time we did it, we didn't intend to, but it ran so good that now it's no problem to go ahead and start it up when we're not plugged in. I had one extra one that I've never used. It's still sitting in the bag that I got it in. And so Yeah, we'll give that away to whichever name we pick. That's a good idea, Kenny.
Yeah, I think it's a fun way to get people to interact and they get something out of it, which, hey, who doesn't like something free?
Yeah.
Especially a great product.
Yeah.
It's a really awesome product. It's really cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love it. I can't say enough good things about that.
Yeah, it's another thing that if it would break, I would definitely want to replace because it's nice at night, especially for us, for Sabrina and I. I mean, we're not big boondockers, so when we're plugged in and you have your AC kick on and off, it's so much quieter and it doesn't disturb you in the middle of the night to have your AC kicking on and off. You don't hear that harsh bang anymore. It's really a nice product, really nice. Very easy to install. I did it myself. I believe you installed yours yourself. So no worries there either. I think that's all of our topics that we were going to talk about. But before we go, I did want to leave. So our next 3 episodes, something that has happened, I guess, for us with this COVID is that it's been easy for us to get people on the show. So our next 3 episodes, people that we really want to talk about are coming up, and the topics for those episodes will be. The first one's going to be Backslider, which is a product that is going to allow you to back up your tow car. For anybody that uses a Class A motorhome or any motorized motorhome and has a tow car, you know that backing up gets very dicey. It's not recommended at all. It can be very dangerous. And we talk with the company of Backslider that's building something, and it's not even on the market yet. This is how new this product is. It's not even out for sale. So this was really interesting for Sean and I to get this perspective of a product that's not even out yet. We're almost getting the scoop on it, I guess you could say. But it's very interesting. I think you'll really enjoy to hear what it takes patent-wise and everything like that to get something to the market, especially since they're still in the process of getting it to the market. Episode after Backslider will be the people from Sun RV Resorts, and they are building a new campground out in California. It's going to be called the Costa Vista. And we talk with them about what it's like to develop a new campground. This is going to be a luxury resort campground. It has features that I don't normally see at a campground, restaurants and bars and large exercise equipment room. But they talk about what it takes. How do they decide what features to put in the RV park and some of the challenges of building a new campground. And again, I think all of our episodes are great, but I really enjoyed talking with the 2 of them.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one. And then we talked with Alliance RV. And you might say, I've never heard of Alliance RV. And that would be because it's a brand new RV manufacturer that just started manufacturing RVs in January. So this was another exciting interview for us to talk with these people that are new to the RV industry. In a sense, the company's new, but everybody involved has been in the RV industry for a long time at other companies, and they've all come together and they are forming Alliance RV, which is going to be a high-end fifth wheel and travel trailer company. So like luxury fifth wheels. Again, it was fun to hear them talk about what it takes to break into this market when you have companies that have been around for 10, 20, 30, 50, 60 years. So it's really interesting to hear what it took to get them into the market and start producing and how many units they make per day and how many dealers they're in. And I think you'll be impressed with what you hear.
Yeah. And I think the great thing about this episode to me is that it was requested by a listener. We got an email on our website from a listener who said, why don't you try and get some new RV manufacturers on, for example, Alliance RV. So we reached out to them and finally got them on the show. So we're really excited to be bringing something to our listeners that they requested. So feel free to send us suggestions, and we really do try hard to get those people on the show.
Yeah, we want to be, Sean and I are certainly interested in everybody that we interview, but if there's somebody that maybe we don't know about that you're interested in and that you would like to hear from, yeah, definitely throw those names out to us and we'll try to get them on the show. So I think that is everything I wanted to say, Sean.
I think that's it, Kenny.
All right, everybody. So we will say goodbye for now. We want to wish you safe travels and be careful out there, and we will see you in another 2 weeks.
Bye, everybody.
This episode is brought to you by Battleborn Batteries, the best name in the RV and marine industry.
These lithium batteries are designed and assembled in the USA, backed by a 10-year warranty. The best solution for your battery anxiety. So go check them out at battlebornbatteries.com.
Whether your adventure is on the road, on the water, or off the grid, Battleborn batteries keep you out there longer.